This video is going to show you how to easily get the most powerful sword in the game, which is Crown Splitter, which is on a Titan. So this drops from various sources in the game. It's a well-lit drop, but it can also be target farmed by the Prismatic Recaster. So you just go to your triumphs, just double check it, see if you've got it unlocked. So it's blades. So you just need a certain amount of adds killed with swords. I end up doing this passively, not even realising. But if you don't have it, just go and kill a couple of adds with your sword. When you unlock it, unlock the triumph. Come to the Prismatic Recaster, then you can target farm this sword in a sense. So you go to blades, it then has a cost of 25 decrypted data, and then your umbrella engram. So one override mission will give you 55 decrypted data, which means you have 2 chances at the Crown Splitter sword per run. There's a 1 in 3 chance that you'll get it, because there's 3 swords that drop, I believe. It's Fallen Guillotine, Temporal Hook, and the class specific sword to your class. So obviously on a Titan, that's going to be the Crown Splitter. So 1 in 3 chance, so you can just farm it via umbrellas. In terms of the sword itself, this is it. This is the role I only have so far, because what happened was, this sword was first made when sort of D2 came out. There was the class specific swords, and then they took them away, and then they brought them back, and then they took them away and then brought them back in. So it's 3 times they've done this, which is kind of annoying, I will say that, because I literally already have a god roll, but we've got past that ledge now. They're not going to sunset swords all the time or any weapons. But this is my old one. Reason why I've got it on me to show you what the god roll is, that I believe it's the most well-rounded roll out of all the rolls that you can get. There's a lot of good different rolls on the sword, but this is the best one. So the best one I believe is having Jagged Edge in this column. It's the best sword damaging class for this perk. Heavy guard is always on the sword, there's no other guards. Then you want Relentless Strikes, Whirlwind Blade. Relentless Strikes, Whirlwind Blade works on any champion, any boss, works on adds, works on everything. You don't need any certain conditions met. You just need to be swinging your sword, hitting a target, that's it. Very simple, you get your damage buff, that's it. There's nothing, no timing required really. So, this, as I said, this is what I believe to be the best. Relentless Strikes makes the sword ammo go a lot further. So I didn't have Jagged Edge on. So when you've got Jagged Edge on, it only has 42, but obviously that ammo gets buffed when you've got your Relentless Strike, so it makes the sword ammo go a lot further. So when you're in a long fight and you solo something, it's better than any other perk. And obviously Whirlwind Blade works really well, because the way swords work, you can't spam your heavy attack. You lose a lot of ammo that way. So you do a couple of light swings, wait for your charge, then heavy attack, then more light swings. So that's how it goes, and that's why it synergizes really well. Obviously you can put boss spec or major spec, whatever you're doing, whether it be a champion or a boss. But that was my old role. It's basically the same sword. I'm comparing the exact same stats of the 2 swords. They're the exact same. So the updated roles, what the roles you can get on this sword are. So obviously we won't talk about these because they're the same. But in this column, the only other perk worth mentioning is Flash Counter. So Flash Counter debuffs an enemy when you block. Okay, so it doesn't buff them. It's like a mini tether, if you like. It's a mini tractor. That's good in certain conditions. If you combine that with, say, counterattack, so when you're blocking, you're buffing your counterattack, then you do your heavy slam. That's a lot of damage. Okay, but that's a very niche role, and is only relevant sometimes depending on what you're exactly doing. But generally, Relentless Strikes, Whirlwind Blade will cover 99% of what you want in the game. Okay, and it has more total damage. Whereas if you're blocking, attacking, that's all that downtime in between. It's like, oh, I'm not attacking him yet, I need to wait for the debuff. Waiting for this debuff, you get your debuff. With Relentless Strikes, Whirlwind Blade, I'm already hitting him 10 times by the time you've done all that stuff that I've just mentioned. So there's a lot of time waste with it. So yeah, that's the other perk. In this column, there's Whirlwind Blade, Vorpal Weapon, Surrounded, and there's one more, I believe. And counterattack, of course. So counterattack's a waste of time, as I said. It's very niche. It works on certain things, but overall, it's a fun rule to have. Keep it if you want. The other rule, there's other perks. So surrounded requires ads to be round a boss to actually activate and proc that buff. So it's too niche. Even that one, not that good. Doesn't work all the time, so it's not very reliable. So the only two perks are Vorpal Weapon, Whirlwind Blade. Whirlwind Blade takes 5 charges to get going. Vorpal Weapon doesn't, and that's why Vorpal Weapon's really good as well. So I would say Relentless Strikes, Vorpal or Whirlwind Blade, those are the god rolls you want on the sword. And that's essentially it for the perks on it. I'll show you quick footage of it comparing damage to Lament. And also one-shot champions. One extra mod that you want to add to this is Energy Accelerant, which is an artifact mod. Your Dragonfly, Chain Reaction and Firefly Explosions deal more damage. So this buffs the heavy portion of the sword, not the light swings. So if you just heavy swing a boss, you'll get Energy Accelerant to proc with it. This improves the sword even more so. So if you're going to run Crown Splitter, you may as well run this mod. Okay, but that's essentially the perks and the mods that you want to run with it. So the first activity we'll test is 1340 power champions and being able to one-shot those. We'll just launch that quickly. I'm 1337 power, so I'm close to the power of the activity, but my damage isn't fully maxed because you need to get to 1340 to do that. But this is going to show you can still kill champions without even having to use anti-barriers rounds on them. For me, the heavy attack alone doesn't quite kill the champion. I have to do 1 or 2 swings, then the heavy attack. When you get to 1340, it might be a case of you do a heavy attack, then they're finishable, then you finish them, or it might just outright one-shot them. I'm not sure because I'm not 1340 yet. This is just an initial test if you like. So it's inside Terminus. There's a couple of champions at the start, so I can quickly show you what it's like on those. Spiral through to here. There will be a champion spawn there, but he always disappears. He's disappeared. That's fine. We'll get him round here. So it's 2 swings, a heavy, and then that's the champion dead. So it's literally very powerful. And as I said, I'm not even at power yet. Again, to show you, within good time, and you end up killing the champion before he puts his barrier. And as I said, it'll probably be a heavy attack, then a finisher kill of 1340. That was a test for the champions anyway. So the next thing is going to be a test between Lament and Crown Splitter, seeing the damage comparison between the two, as Lament was the highest DPS sword in the game previously, before Crown Splitter came out. In Last Wish, the activity is 1100 power, so all your weapons and damage is capped at 1100, so it doesn't matter what you use, whether you use 1320 or 1100. So I'm just going to use my old roll, the same sword, as you can see, comparing the stats, just literally, this is a better roll on it. So I'd rather show off what the actual god roll looks like. The only difference is as this hasn't got Relentless Strikes. So we'll use Crown Splitter essentially first, then we'll use the Lament and show the damage between the two. Use it on Kali, just wait for him to spawn in. We'll do damage in the short window of time you have until you wipe, and then once you wipe, you get a damage number to see the comparison between the two numbers. So let's wait for the boss to spawn in now. We're not going to use Loosened Blade, Weapons of Light, nothing like that. Only the base sword itself. We'll build up our Whirlwind Blade first, and then we'll just keep doing light swings until we get our heavy. Just keep doing our light swings. We'll maybe get another one in. We did get another heavy. That was decent. Nearly got a last one in. If I had Loosened Blade, that would have been another heavy swing. So we'll just see what the damage number was on Crown Splitter, which was nearly 700k damage. So that's the sort of damage we'll do. We'll do Lament next and we'll compare the two that way. Again, same sort of test, well, exact same. Just waiting for the boss to spawn in, which he's going to now. It spawns in. We'll make sure we get the what do you call it? The Banshee's Wheel every time. We'll see what damage was. It wasn't perfect, but it wasn't meant to be perfect. But as long as we're getting the Banshee's Wheel and not missing heavy attack, because if you miss a heavy attack on Lament, it really messes up damage. So that I feel was pretty decent. Ended up getting 400k. So the Crown Splitter nearly got 700k damage wise. So nearly 300,000 more on the Crown Splitter as opposed to the sword. Which Lament's still really good in terms of what it does. But if you do miss a heavy attack and you go right past the boss, which happens a lot, the best thing you want to do is after you've done your light swings and you're waiting for your charge, your heavy charge, do a short hop and then do your light swing, your charge light swings and your heavy. Because the in-air tracking on Lament is better than the ground tracking. Okay, the ground tracking on the game just has you sometimes completely miss the target, and that's the problem with Lament. But even when Lament's performing at its best, it still doesn't do more damage than Energy Accelerant Crown Splitter. So that was a test between the two. Overall, this sword, is it going to be worth using in Grandmasters? Maybe not. Just depends on the Grandmaster itself. But a good Titan exotic to use with sword is Stronghold, so that when you guard, you get the health regen back. But we'll just see how that plays out. That was a test between the two. Hope you enjoy. Thank you.